Yes, okay. So I'm Janice Victoria, Africa Robles, Industrial Hygienist of Occupational Safety and Health Center. So ngayong araw po ating tatalakayin ang indoor air quality o ang kalidad ng hangin sa loob ng ating pook gawaan. Okay, ano po ang ating mga objectives? Ang ating pong objectives ay at the end of the session, the participants will be able to define indoor air quality. Ano ba ang tinatawag na indoor air quality? Yung kalidad ng hangin sa ating loob na o puok gawaan. Then identify, evaluate, and control IAQ problems. Mga problema, paano natin siya makikita, paano natin siya ma-evaluate, at paano natin siya makokontrol. Then recommend IAQ management plan or program. Okay. Bakit ba natin pinag-uusapan tong indoor air quality? Okay. Ano ba ang mga kadahilanan? Una-una, nandoon ang indoor air pollution. Okay. According sa National Institute of Environment, Health and Sciences ng NIH, 34% ng stroke ay because of indoor air pollution. And 26%, meaning isa sa 4 na tao or approximately 25%, 26% ay nagkakaroon ng ischemic heart disease. And 22% or round it off sa 1 out of 5 persons nagkakaroon ng chronic obstructive pulmonary disease. And acute lower respiratory infection sa children at 12% or 1 out of 10, and lung cancer at 6%. And that's because of indoor air pollution. Kaya kailangan natin pag-aralan ang indoor air quality. Saliksikin ang indoor air quality. Okay. So according kay EPA or Environmental Protection Agency sa US and World Health Organization, indoor air quality pollution as one of the top 5 environmental risks to public health. Okay, bakit? Kasi we spend 90% of our time indoors. Okay, i-trace back natin ha. Pagising mo ng umaga, nasa loob ka ng bahay. Naligo ka, kumain ka, nasa loob ka pa rin ng bahay. Lumabas ka, sandali lang, sumakay ka ng sasakyan, nasa loob ka pa rin. Nagda-drive ka, papasok ka na sa opisina, nag-park ka, lumabas ka. And then, nag-time in ka, nasa loob ka na naman. And then, all throughout the day, nasa loob ka ng bahay o ng opisina. Nasa loob ka ng building. And then, uuwi ka, sasakay ka ng sasakyan, nasa loob ka pa rin. And then, pagdating mo na sa bahay, nasa loob ka pa rin. So, we spend 90% of our time indoors. Plus the fact, merong increased levels of air pollution. Sa indoor ha, increased level of air pollution. Anong kadahilanan nun? Kasi, there is higher air pollution outdoors. So, papasok sa loob. And then, yung mga buildings ngayon, properly sealed. Bakit? Para hindi maka-escape yung aircon kasi magastos sa kuryente pag nag-escape yung lamig. So they properly sealed all the windows, the doors. And then the material used for buildings such as paint, glues, mga upholstered furnitures, mga dust mite, allergens, bugs, this can contribute to air pollution. Okay? And that is why there is an increased need for healthy indoor air. Okay? So, in our house, okay, in the office or in our school, tingnan natin kung gaano kadumi or gaano kadami ang particles sa hangin. Okay? Pag clean air, ganyan. Okay? Walang particle. Pag outdoor air, this is a sample taken. Okay? There is 1 million particles per 35 cubic feet. Indoor air, you guess, up to 100 million particles per 35 cubic feet. So saan ang mas polluted? Indoor or outdoor? From this data, we can say that indoor air is more polluted than outdoor air. That's why there is a need for a healthy indoor air. Okay? First, we have to know what is indoor air. Ano ba sinasabi nilang indoor air? Okay? The term indoor air is usually applied to non-industrial indoor environment. Non-industrial ha, wala mga proseso. Katulad ng office buildings. Wala naman tayong manufacturing sa loob ng office building. Okay, purely like this one. Public buildings like school, theaters, restaurants, museums, those are public buildings, and private dwellings, yung ating mga bahay. Okay? For industrial setting, okay, anong difference ng dalawa in terms of contaminants? Okay. Sa industrial setting, there is a specific production of chemical compounds. Alam mo kung ano yung mga raw materials. Okay? So, air concentrations of these specific chemicals can be measured. For non-industrial setting, maraming chemicals dyan. In low concentrations, meron kang alcohol sa loob ng office. Meron kang air freshener. Ano pang meron ka sa loob ng office? Meron kang powder, baby powder, and then meron kang perfume, meron kang glues, meron kang adhesives. Mix na yan ng mga chemicals in low concentrations. Okay, yan ang kaibahan ng industrial sa non-industrial setting. So, this indoor air chemical composition does not allow us to predict how the air will be perceived. Okay? Hindi natin alam kung ano magiging epekto ng mixture of these air contaminants in low concentrations to us. Kasi because we are individuals, we are unique. So maybe ikaw maging asthmatic ka, siya hindi. Or maybe nagkaroon siya ng allergy, ikaw wala. So these are all in low concentrations. Okay? So what is now indoor air quality? So we know now what is indoor air. Indoor air, meron siya mga low concentrations of chemicals. As compared sa industrial setting, alam mo na kung anong chemicals na meron ka as your raw materials. So what is now indoor air quality? Indoor air quality is a term to the air quality within and around the building and structures, especially as it relates to the health and comfort of building occupants. Okay, relates to health and comfort of building occupants. So within a building, as I said, there are thousands of chemical substances in low concentrations. And the composition, you don't know how you will react, how your body will react. And it can be irritating, naiirita ka sa amoy, ang baho, or there is simply a stale air inside your office. Okay? So, how can we now grade the indoor air quality? How can we grade indoor air quality? There is poor indoor air quality. Anong ibig sabihin ng poor indoor air quality? There is a combined effect of gases or particles in excessive concentration. Sobra yung concentration. And it mixed with thermal conditions, okay, which can affect the health or satisfaction of building occupants. Excessive concentration combined with thermal conditions that can affect yung health mo or satisfaction mo to stay inside the building. Pag sinabi mong good IAQ or good indoor air quality, it has no unwanted gases or particles at concentrations which will adversely affect building occupants. Ibig sabihin, suitable comfort conditions. Komportable ka that you stay inside the building. And building occupants, staff, and management share the goal of providing a healthy indoor environment. It's just not the responsibility of the safety officers or the MagOSH committee. It's a responsibility of everyone inside the building or occupants of the building. Whether it is a contractor, dapat isasama rin ang mga contractor. Later, we will discuss that in IAQ management program. Okay? So, adversely affect individuals. But everyone, when you say good IAQ, suitable, comfort conditions, suitable. So, there is such term as acceptable indoor air. When you say acceptable indoor air, 80% of the occupant express satisfaction and only 20% do not express satisfaction. Ibig sabihin, pag nasa loob kayo ng kwarto, 10 kayo, dalawa ang nagka-allergy o dalawa ang humahatching. So, is my indoor air quality acceptable? Yes, it is. Kasi dalawa lang sila. 10 kayo. And then, pag 7 na, 7 na ang na-dissatisfy, then you have to check your IAQ. Okay, according to ASHRAE, 80% of the people exposed do not express dissatisfaction. Okay? Ibig sabihin, sa 8 out of 10 na tao inside the room, satisfied sila. Okay, only 2 out of 10 are not satisfied. Okay, that is the acceptable indoor air because sometimes you cannot accept that it is really 100%. Okay, so there is a range that acceptable indoor air quality. Okay, so we discussed about the thermal conditions. Okay, di ba excessive concentrations? When you say poor IAQ, ano yun? Excessive conditions mixed with thermal conditions. Okay, when you say thermal conditions, there are 2 factors, and these are temperature and humidity. Okay, so we have a proposed recommendation for that. The recommended optimum temperature ranges from 20 degrees Celsius to 24 degrees Celsius for indoor office setting. Okay, 20 to 24. That is the proposed, that is from Philippine Mechanical Engineering Code. And then for the humidity level is for 30 to 65%, and that is the proposed. Okay, so for the FYI, the average humidity levels outdoor sa labas ay 70 to 75%. Ang recommended natin sa indoor is at least 30 to 65%. Okay. So we will discuss now temperature and humidity. For temperature, remember that I told you it's 20 degrees Celsius to 24 degrees Celsius. However, you must take note that, lagay ko na sa 24, lagay ko na sa 20. You must consider the following factors that can affect individual for temperature parameter. Okay, these are activity. Ano ba activity sa loob ng office? Malagi ba silang gumagalaw? Nakaupo lang ba sila? Nagkakat ba sila ng paper? Nagsusort sila? Ano yung age level? Okay? Kasi usually, age, like for example, yung medyo bata-bata, they can withstand cold temperature. Whereas, yung medyo may edad na, lamigin na. Okay? Natural body temperature. Okay. If you're undergoing like, sometimes kasi, because of the hormonal changes in your body, your natural body temperature increases. Okay, it depends, okay, on the state of your health. And then, of course, seasonal temperature, summer, and then that's summer months and mga December months, yung mga malalamig. So you have to take note of the following items for the thermal comfort of your occupants. Okay, ano bang activity? Pag yung activity napakabigat, you need, and then there's body exertion. So there is liberation of body heat. So mas iinit ngayon yung environment. Then you have to lower down the temperature. Okay? But the range should be 20 to 24 degrees Celsius. Okay? So next thing is relative humidity. First is, what is relative humidity? Okay? Is the term used to describe the amount of water vapor that exists in a gaseous mixture of air and water. Amount of water vapor in the air. Yun lang yun. In simpleng salita, gaano kadami ang water vapor sa hangin. Example, okay, in this slide, you can see there is a cloud. In the cloud or in the sky, there are 7 spots consumed by water vapor and 14 available spots for water vapor. So what is now the relative humidity? Of course, 50%. Kasi kalahati ng spot na occupy na ng water vapor. So it means 50% ng atmosphere na, 50% ng hangin natin is composed of water vapor. Okay. So what is now the relationship of relative humidity and temperature? Okay. Warmer temperatures, ibig sabihin kung mas mainit, no? Increase the amount of water vapor that can be in the air. Bakit? Bakit? Pag warmer temperature, bakit mas maraming water vapor ang pwedeng makarry ng hangin? Kasi, as we all know, nung mga elementary days natin, high school days natin, that warm, yung pag mainit ang molecules, it goes faster, yung movement niya. Diba? Mas mabilis gumalaw ang mga molecules pag mainit. So, kung mas mabilis silang gumalaw, the spaces between them, mas malalayo. So, it can occupy, those space can be occupied by the water vapor. Kaya, mas maraming hangin, as mas maraming water vapor ang ma-occupy during warmer season. Now, bare months. Pag bare months, mabagal ang kilos ng molecule sa hangin. So, mabagal ang kilos. Sa space between them, mas maliit. So, therefore, in colder months, like in bare months, less water vapor in the air. So, decreases the humidity level. Okay? Understood? Mas mainit, mas maraming water vapor ang pwedeng i-carry ng hangin. Pag malamig, mas kaunting water vapor ang pwedeng i-carry ng hangin. So therefore, pag mas malamig, mas mababa ang humidity, relative humidity, as compared during summer months. Okay, so how can we relate this one? Sa Pilipinas. Okay, remember that we are in tropical region. Pag tropical region, mainit. Okay. When temperature is high and relative humidity is low, ibig sabihin hindi pa lahat ng water vapor naka-evaporate. No, kaunti pa lang. So there'll be more spots for water vapor. So what will happen? Evaporation of water now is rapid. Mas mabilis siyang umakyat kasi more spaces pa sa taas. Kasi the relative humidity is low. Kaunti pa lang ang water vapor sa hangin. So evaporation of water now will become faster. And it can dry the soil faster also. That's why during summer months, natutuyo yung mga rice field. Okay? And it can dry the clothes quickly. And at the same time, it can chip off our furniture. Kasi nag-evaporate ang water. Okay? Nadadry siya. And then, yung perspiration natin sa skin can evaporate faster. Okay? Now, when temperature is high and relative humidity is high naman, okay? The other way around. When temperature is high and relative humidity is high, evaporation of water is slow. You will feel this one when it is about to rain. When it is about to rain, kahit na anong paypay mo, you still feel uncomfortable. Why? Because the water vapor on your skin cannot evaporate readily, cannot evaporate quickly. Bakit? Kasi mataas na yung relative humidity. There is no more space for water vapor in the air. Okay? And the evaporation of water is slow. When relative humidity approaches 100%, condensation can occur. Okay? This can lead to problems with molds, corrosion, decay, and other moisture-related deterioration. Okay? So you will see later how the molds can affect your indoor. Okay? Anong epekto ba ng IAQ sa atin? So we know that poor indoor air quality due to excessive concentrations of chemicals in low concentrations and mixed with thermal conditions. Ano ba ang epekto nito sa atin? Okay? So, people experience adverse health condition. Hindi tayo lahat pare-pareho. But we might experience adverse conditions. Okay. The more sensitive or more exposed we are, we can experience the symptoms earlier. Okay? Some people may not be sensitive to IAQ problems, but can become vulnerable as exposure continues year after years. You've been in the place for 10 years and then you've been exposed to a dust. At first, pumasok ka sa isang opisina and then you don't have mga asthma pa, ganyan. And then suddenly after 10 years, 15 years, 20 years, ako, bakit may asthma na ako? Bakit nagkaka-allergy na ako? So, you will become vulnerable as exposure continues year after year. But you have to take note, okay? Individual susceptibility, okay? You have to take note also of concentration of the contaminants. Duration, gaano katagal. Frequency, gaano kadalas. And of course, the lifestyle. Okay? So this IAQ now effects can affect our eyes. Sometimes we feel natutuyo ang mata ko tapos dry and itchy. So you have to check. And then for the upper respiratory tract, makating lalamunan mo. Oh, hindi naman COVID kagad yun. Nasal congestion. Okay. Sa lungs mo, oh, nahihirapan kang huminga, may dry cough ka. Sa skin mo, nakikita mo may mga redness, tapos may localized itchiness. And then in general, you feel headache, weakness, nangihina ka, nahihilo ka, lethargic ka, nakatingin ka lang sa wall blankly. And then the most common illness because of IAQ is hypersensitivity and infections. Okay? For hypersensitivity, meaning allergic reaction, like you have hypersensitivity, pneumonitis, asthma, rhinitis, dermatitis. For infections, you can have Pontiac fever, tuberculosis, is common colds. Okay, so now we go to the building occupants. Ano bang pwedeng mangyari? So as I told you, there could be hypersensitivity to susceptible individuals. Okay? And it can be in sick building syndrome. What is a sick building syndrome? Kaya siya tinawag na sick building syndrome kasi pag nasa building ka lang, nagkakasakit ka. When you're away from the building, magaling ka na. You cannot identify the specific illness. Basta ganun lang. Pag nasa loob ka ng building, nagkakasakit ka. And then when you go out and have the weekend, and you feel suddenly okay. Okay, you call that sick building syndrome. What are the symptoms of sick building syndrome? You could have headache, difficulty of concentrating, lethargic ka, and then sinisipon ka, eyes, nose, and throat. And then there's chest tightness and asthma-like syndromes. So, but when you're away from the building, wala ka nito. Okay, there is no specific illness that can be identified. Kasi gumagaling ka when you're away from the building. So, you call that sick building syndrome. And another one is what they call the building-related illness. Okay? Diagnosable disease to. It can be a Legionnaire's disease. What is a Legionnaire's disease? That came from contaminated, warm, stagnant, aerosolized water. Or you can have hypersensitivity pneumonitis that come from organic dust, alikabok. Humidifier fever, bacteria, fungi, or amoebas in the humidifier. So you have to clean the humidifier ng aircon every now and then. And then the Pontiac fever that would come from the Legionella infection. Okay. So nai-inhale mo ngayon yung mga bacteria, mga fungi, nai-inhale mo siya. Okay, mga organic dust. So you call that building-related illness. Okay? When you're inside the building, you got that one from inside the building. Okay, so we go now to recognition of IAQ issues. What are the IAQ issues? We have to know first the categories of common pollutant inside the building or indoor air. Okay, there are two categories, biological and chemical. For the biological, it refers to bacteria, viruses, fungi, molds, allergen, or pollen, pag merong plants. And then, moisture sources, you can have water spills na hindi na-cleanis kaagad. Inadequate humidity control. That's why sa opisina, meron tayong humidity control. Ano ang dapat? The proposed is 30 to 65%. And of course, ventilation system. Okay? Next is biological category of sources of indoor air can be brought by the building occupants. Pagpasok, dala-dala nila. Okay? There can be inadequate maintenance and housekeeping. Hindi natatapon kaagad ang basura, maalikabok. Okay? And then, patong-patong yung mga papel. That's housekeeping. Okay, yung ating ISO. Then we go now to chemical category. For chemical category, examples are the tobacco smoke, okay? Emission from products used in the building, like furniture. Mga furniture, lalo na pagbago, may amoy. It can be a source of indoor air pollution. Then walls and floor coverings. May mga adhesives yan na kailangan ipasingaw mo muna. Cleaning and consumer products. Okay, mga cleaning products, may mga sabon, okay, perfumes, consumer products. Next is particulates, solid or liquid suspended in air, produced by activities in the indoor environment. For example, renovation, nagpaayos ng CR, okay? So, photocopying, yung carbon dust, cutting and drilling, printing, painting. This can contribute to indoor air pollution. Okay, and that can alter our indoor air quality. Okay, again, there are two categories, biological and chemical. Now, what are the possible sources of these two categories? So we have here a situation. So we will now see how chemical and biological category can be a source of indoor air pollution. Number one, sa labas ng building. Anong meron tayo? Meron tayong particulates and bioaerosols. Mga bioaerosols like mga pollen sa mga halaman, VOCs, volatile organic compounds. And then the ozone, of course, we know that there is ozone. Pag merong sasakyan, merong usok, vehicle exhaust, there is carbon monoxide. And carbon monoxide contains benzene. And of course, smoking. And it can enter your indoor air. Okay? So, pumasok na siya dito sa indoor. And then indoor, meron ka pa. This is a typical office setting. So, you have here the wall. When you chip up the wall, merong mga molds doon. Ang mga molds, pwede yung may mga spores siya na pwede mong mahinga. And of course, in the office, there's also the carpet. Yung carpet, meron siyang formaldehyde. Yun yung adhesive, yung pinandikit. And then, it can also accumulate dust particles. And then, pag nag-smoke sa loob ng office, there can be a polyaromatic hydrocarbons from the burnt tobacco. And it could have also carbon monoxide and benzene. Now, we go here to sa occupant. Occupant can have bioaerosols, can have perfume. Maamoy mo kaagad pag pumasok ka sa office. And of course, carbon dioxide when exhaled. And doon sa upuan ng occupant, meron niyang adhesives. Pinandidikit, bago ang tela, it could have formaldehyde. Next is yung mga cleaning agents. You can have gases and vapors coming from cleaning materials. And sa painted wall, you can have volatile organic compounds if it is not water-based. Then meron ka pang halaman. So, halaman or indoor plants can be a source of bioaerosols or allergen. Okay, meron kang printer. You can have the toner dust. Also, copier can be a source of ozone. Okay? And the stale water coming from air conditioner. You see, there are so many sources inside and outside. Okay, inside, ang dami-dami. That's why, as have shown you earlier, mas maraming particulates indoor as compared sa outdoor. Okay? So other sources, there is accidental events. There is the pantry or smoking lounges, and there are also repair activities, remodeling. These can be other sources which can contribute to the indoor air. So, sa mga contractors, kailangan ay na-advise din natin sila how to maintain our indoor air quality. Okay, that's why there is IAQ management program. Okay, so we have these other sources. Now, we might say, how small are these common air contaminants? Gaano ba kaliliit ang mga to? Hindi ko naman siya makita eh. Yung iba nakikita ko, yung iba hindi. Because there are different sizes. Okay? And 90% of the contaminants hindi po natin nakikita. Okay, this is the sample, mga contaminants and their size. Which one is visible to the human eye? Which one is only visible with a microscope and electron microscope? For the pollen, we can see that with the human eye. Here, we can see this one with the human eye. Plant spores, we can see some, but some are not. Insecticide dust, fumes, we can only see with microscope. Animal dander, yung mga balahibo ng aso na maliliit, balahibo ng pusang maliliit. Sometimes we can see that's the up to 10 microns, but it can be lower than the 10 microns. Skin flakes, yung mga babalat na skin, especially if your skin is dry. And viruses, you can see that one with microscope and electron microscope. Chemical vapor only can be seen with microscope and electron microscope. Not, as you can see, not all contaminants can be seen by the human eye. Only 10% can be seen by the human eye. As you can see there, the division, the 10 micron division. Okay, and most of them, the mga air contaminants ay below 10 microns, as you can see from the graph. Okay? So, paano ba natin mabivisualize? Gaano ba kaliit ang 10 microns? Gaano ba kaliit ang 2.5 microns? Okay, you have your hair strand. Yung hair strand mo, yung hair mo. Okay, i-divide mo siya ng 4. Yung hair strand mo, divide mo ng 4. laki nun ay i-divide mo siya ng 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That would be equivalent to PM10. Okay, kasi yung human hair mo is 50, average of 50 microns. 50, 50. I-divide mo yan ng 5, yung human hair mo. Divide mo ng 5. And that is equivalent to PM10. Yung dinivide mo ng 5, yung isa doon, i-divide mo ng 4 pa. That is equivalent to PM 2.5. Ganon kaliit ang PM10 at ganon kaliit ang PM 2.5. Human hair is around 50 to 70 microns. Again, 50 to 70 siya. So, lagay mo ng 50. I-divide mo siya ng 5. So, sa 5, yung isang strand na yon equivalent to PM10. Ngayon, yung PM10 na nakuha mong strand, i-divide mo pa ng 4. Yung 4 na yon, yung isang makukuha mo doon, equivalent nun is 2.5. Ganon kaliit ang 2.5. Okay? Napakaliit. This is for you to visualize. So, how can we filter this one? Ang liit-liit nila. Ang liit-liit, 2.5, 10. Tapos yung iba pang mga sizes is below 2.5. Merong 1 microns, merong 0.01. What we should do? How can we clean our air? There is such thing as air filters. Okay? Air filter is a device composed of fibrous materials which remove solid particles such as dust, pollen, mold, and bacteria from the air. Air filters are used in applications where air quality is important, especially in building ventilation system. Okay, what are the kinds of air filters? Okay, so we can remove this contaminant by the use of air filter. Remove, but not killed, ha? Remove lang, but not killed. Okay, so what are the different kinds of air filter? We do have activated carbon filter. Activated carbon filter, or known as charcoal filter, can filter gases, but it cannot filter fine particles like dust, dust mites, dunders, or pollen from the air. Remember, charcoal filter can filter the gases, but not the dust. Okay, only the gases. Okay, next filter is what we call the ultra low penetration air filters, or ULPA. Okay, it can filter 99.99% of particle sizes between 0.1 to 0.2 microns. Okay, it can filter it can filter 99.99%. Okay, of particle sizes from 0.1 to 0.2. Okay, next is the HEPA filter. HEPA filter can filter 99.97% of airborne particles from size of 0.3 microns. Okay, and now we might ask, where is now COVID? Where is now COVID? There's the virus. COVID size is approximately 0.06 to 0.14 microns. Ang liit naman. So, ang makaka-filter lang dyan, si ultra penetration at si HEPA. Okay? But, FYI, there is never a naked virus. It's always together with, attached with droplets or aerosol. So, it could be larger than 1 microns. There is never be a naked virus. It's always attached to droplets or aerosol, and that can be larger than 1 micron. Okay? So the comparison of particle size chart we do have here. For N95 respirators, it can, again, filter 95% at 0.3. Okay, hanggang 0.3, 95% ang efficiency niya. Pag HEPA filter, 97% ang efficiency niya at 0.3 microns in size. The ULPA or ultra low penetration air filter, 99.9995% efficiency at 0.1 to 0.2. Okay? So, yung ULPA talagang pinifilter niya up to 0.1. Okay? So, we might ask, can mask capture coronavirus? Ang liit ng, pero I've told you earlier that there is never a naked virus. It's always attached to an aerosol or droplets. But can mask capture coronavirus? Okay, so we do have mask. Face mask and N95. Okay. For the face mask and N95, they are made of the same material. Polypropylene fiber. Okay. Both are non-woven and using a melt blowing process. Okay. These are polypropylene materials and being blown into a cylinder and until to make a fabric material. Okay. So it can non-woven polypropylene fiber. Okay, both of them are the same materials. So understanding the difference between them, between surgical mask and N95 respirator. The only important difference between them is the fitting. Face mask, like surgical mask, like this one, is open here. Open dito sa side. Okay? Whereas, ang N95 respirator is tight fitting. Okay, so seldom na makaka-escape yung exhaled air. And you can also inhale ng mas malinis. Okay, kasi walang leak. Okay? So, however, there was a study. Both surgical masks and unvented KN95 respirators, even without fit testing, kasi tinitest yan, fit testing, reduce the outward particle emission rate by 90%. Ibig sabihin, pag nag-exhale ka, 10% lang ang lalabas ng mga contaminants. And 90% nasa loob. Okay. But when you speak, of course, there is a force. When you cough, when you shout, okay, 74% on average and 26% yung lumalabas. That's why you still have to maintain social distancing even though you are wearing masks. Okay? Kasi may lumalabas pa rin 10% normal breathing, exhalation, and when you speak, when you shout, when you do some forceful exhalation, may lumalabas pa rin 26%. Okay? That is the study, the result of the study conducted in 2020 by there is the sources. You can retrieve that one from the source. Okay? So that is the reason you still have to maintain your social distancing. Even though both of you are wearing masks, whether it is surgical mask, whether it is KN95 or N95 mask. Okay? Regardless of fit testing. Regardless of how it is fit in your face. Okay? Next. So, nilabas na yung hangin. 10% lumabas. Tapos, nag-speak ka, 26% ang lumabas. Saan ngayon to pupunta? That's what they call the pollutant fate. Saan pupunta to? Okay, there are such thing as inhalable particles. Inhalable particles that can deposit in the nose, in the mouth, pharynx, and larynx. Okay, there is up to here, up to the Adam's apple if you have the Adam's apple. And then, thoracic particles, you call that one when it is deposited in the daanan ng hangin, windpipe. Okay? So, with a diameter of less than 10 microns. Next, we do have respirable particles. The size is with a diameter of 2.5 microns. It can reach the end of your lungs. When it reaches your lungs, it is an impasse. What is impasse? Once you go in, you cannot go out. Lungs is an impasse. When say impasse, once you go in, you cannot go out. It's a dead space. Okay? So, as safety officer, as our management, we will give you a template for preliminary IAQ checklist. Okay, what are we going to check? Ano bang i-check natin? Okay, when you go around, you have to check the walls, ceilings, and floors. There are molds, you mark yes. Where? Gaano kadami? Anong kulay? That's for your remarks. Visible dust on the flat surfaces, you check. These are the preliminary IAQ checklist. The mga diffusers ng aircon, are the diffusers black? Yung labasan ng hangin, yung parang ano doon, minumove nyo. Mold and dust, dirt on diffusers, you check on that. Yung air exhaust louvers, i-check mo din. Baka hindi na gumagalaw yung louvers, naka-black. Mold and dust, paki-check nyo na rin. Pollutant sources on workstations, photocopiers, merong carbon dust, toner dust. I-check mo pag meron. And then, chemical storage or handling area. Check nyo ka ng mga chemicals kasi this can be a source of, diba, there are two categories, biological and chemical. So, chemical storage, you check on that. Baka may nagli-leak na mga chemicals, which can be a source of indoor air pollution, indoor air contaminant. You check on the rugs, mga basahan na pinampunas, baka mamaya naka-expose lang. And it can be a source of indoor air pollution. Maamoy. Bakit sa chemical storage maamoy? Ano ang source ng amoy? And this smell can go out. Smoking room. You check. Sa smoking room, are there mga ashes? Ashes can be a source of dust. Meron bang mga nikotina na nakadikit doon sa exhaust? You have to clean that. Particle boards or plywood shelves, baka na-chip off na during summer months. It can be a source of wood dust. Paper storage area, paki-check na rin. Kasi there can be paper dust. Okay? Minsan nagpupulbos na yung mga papel na luma. Another to check is the HVAC system or the ventilation system. You have to take the outdoor intake. Okay? Yung pahigop na hangin, hinihigop na hangin ng aircon. Is it adequate? Is it black? Baka mamaya, hinihigop na ng aircon yung katabi ng motor pool. Di ang hihigupin ng aircon yung usok ng sasakyan. Tapos ibubuga niya sa loob ng kwarto. Then, pollution sources near intake. That's it. Ducts and plenum should be clean. Okay? Dinadaanan ng aircon, ng lamig ng hangin, yung mga ducting dapat malinis. Ventilation shut off overnight and or weekends. Kindly check. Dust accumulation on workstations and furniture surfaces, which can be a source of pwedeng magkaroon ng hypersensitivity, pneumonitis, pwedeng magkaroon ng asthmatic syndrome, asthmatic flu-like symptoms. Then, pwede rin magkaroon ng allergy. Now, we go now to the window type or whatever kind of aircons, you have to check the humidifiers. If it is slimy o madulas na siya, malumot, you have to clean. And you have also to clean molds in the ducts. Air conditioning system, mga condensate, kailangan alisin. The cooling coils, moldy odors, you check kung meron. Maintenance and design. Windows can be open. Diba? The reason why there such thing as ang taas ng indoor air pollution is because the windows are tightly sealed and cannot be opened. Kasi sayang nga naman yung lamig mag-escape and then magastos sa kuryente. So make sure that there are windows that can be open for proper ventilation. Then people should frequently open the windows, especially during break times. So, i-check nyo yan as a preliminary IAQ checklist. The number of occupants. Is it recarpeted? Work areas are repainted? Any other present? So, as you go around, you have your walkthrough, kindly check. You can design your own checklist based on your needs. This is just a template, and then you can add more. Okay. Cigarette smoke. Do people smoke inside the building? Yes or no? Is there a smoking area? Yes or no? Is a smoking area ash are properly cleaned regularly? Then chemicals and gases. Okay, air entering the building from parking, you check. Okay, tingnan nyo yung mga sa aircon, baka mamayang nahihigop nila is coming from the parking. Next is indoor sources. Meron bang gas stoves? Merong internal combustion ba? Chemicals from lab. Pag maamoy ang lab, ibig sabihin, is not properly ventilated. Pag walang amoy ang lab, ibig sabihin magandang ventilation. Okay? Chemicals from plywood, particle board, off-gassing, kailangan nyo, or newly installed, kailangan nagbe-ventilate during weekends para yung amoy lumabas, hindi maipon sa loob. That's why you have at least one or a window that can be open for proper ventilation. And then personal care products of the occupants, perfume, sanitizers, air freshener, powder, then mga cleaning products, disinfecting materials, disinfecting solutions, isopropyl alcohol, any kind of alcohol. These are the cleaning products that are being used on our surfaces. So you have to check on that too. So IAQ identified issues. They had a study, okay, by the MagOSH for 500 indoor air quality health hazard cases. Anong nakita nila out of 500? Ano ang pinaka-problema? Okay, 52% inadequate building ventilation system. That's why you have IAQ problem. Okay? 70% would come from inside contaminants originating inside the building, like formaldehyde, dust, material furnishing. And 3% would come from building products like concrete, wood, and furnishing. So all in all, 50%, 52% or kalahati. Ano ang problema? Lack of outside air, poor air distribution, uncomfortable temperature and humidity, and contaminant sources inside the system. So 52%, kalahati ng IAQ identified issues will come from inadequate building ventilation system. Okay? How do we evaluate that? How do we evaluate the IAQ issues? Okay? So we have a proposed IAQ standards. Kasi as of now, the present yellow book that we have, occupational safety and health standard, we will include IAQ standards. Okay, for the proposed temperature, it's 20 to 24 degrees Celsius. This is proposed, it could change. Relative humidity, 30% to 65%. That's how you evaluate. So how will you know if you have enough? Carbon dioxide should be, okay, a maximum of 1,000 ppm lang. Pero pag nag 50% lang siya, like 500 ppm, kailangan gawan mo na ng action. Okay? Carbon monoxide, hanggang 10 ppm lang. But pag nagkalahati na siya, you should have done something. Okay? Formaldehyde, 0.3 ppm. Particulate matter, yung mga alikabok, mga wood dust, paper dust, all kinds of dust. Kailangan, for respirable, kailangan 0.15. Di ba, I told you earlier, yung respirable, it can go to the end of the lungs, doon sa dulo ng lungs. And for the total dust is 0.26. For the volatile organic compound, like the benzene, toluene, mga ganon, should be up to 3 ppm lang. Ozone. A source of ozone for the office, for example, is the photocopier. It's ang 0.05 ppm lang. Okay? Nitrogen dioxide, 0.5 lang din. Sulfur is 0.05 and sulfur is 0.5. Remember, this is proposed. Okay, what our references? Our references are the ASHRAE, Philippine Mechanical Engineering Code, and the Ministry of Health, Japan, Malaysia, Germany, and the National Ambient Air Quality Standard from Canada. Okay, Canada and EPA. Now, how do we control? So we do have na evaluate. So we found out that our carbon dioxide, for example, is 2,500 ppm. That much. Di ba? Ano ang ano natin sa carbon dioxide is only up to 1,000. Eh, ang na-measure, 2,500. Or you go beyond the standards. Mas mataas ka na standards. So how can we control that? For example, for the molds. Okay. Molds is caused by high humidity sa loob ng building. Hindi siya na-exhaust. Hindi siya lumalabas. Nag-stay lang siya. So, molds due to water leaks. Hindi ka agad naayos. So, what should we do? Okay? What should we do? Kailangan maintain mo ang humidity below 60%. Properly sized air conditioning unit. Okay? Proper maintenance of HVAC, which is included in your preliminary checklist. Stop leaks within 24 hours. Clean and dry the area. Stop leak, clean and dry the area within 24 hours. And you have to vent out humid air. Okay, vent out humid air para hindi ka magkaroon ng molds. Okay. Next is poor housekeeping. Familiar? Yung mga pantry area natin, our offices, sometimes meron dyang rows, meron ng extension cord which just below the sink. Eh paano pag natuluan ng tubig ang extension cord? There is cleaning materials, there are yung garbage can, walang takip. And then there are doon pa may coffee maker pa, then doon may lace pa. So, poor housekeeping. Okay. Another one of poor housekeeping. Familiar with this one? All the papers are just on top of your table. And then this is in the CR, hindi nalilinis. So, what we should do? Okay. So, the 5S of housekeeping. According to Japanese, you have to sort, set in order, shine, standardize, and sustain. Okay? That's how you clean. First is you have to sort. How to clean it? First step is you have to sort. Okay, you call that in Japanese, seiri. Okay? When in doubt, move it out. Pag hindi mo na kailangan at hindi mo na hinahanap, move it out. Okay? And then, next one is seiton, set in order. A place for everything and everything in its place. Lagyan mo siya ng lugar. Okay? Ballpen sa ballpen, lapis sa lapis. Ito, hindi ko na kailangan, red tack, out. Okay? Next is you have to shine. Clean and inspect or inspect thoroughly. You call that in Japanese, seiso. Next is standardize. You have to make up the rules. Clean as you go. That's an example of a rule. And enforce them. Before you go, make sure that your tables are clean. Am I doing it? Let me think. And then the last part is sustain. You have to sustain the behavior. You call that shitsuke. Let's say the standardized is, the rule is clean as you go. Can you sustain that for a year, the clean as you go? And you call that in Japanese, shitsuke. Okay. For housekeeping activities, anong pwedeng maging solution natin yan? You have to learn and use good IAQ practices. Example, as I told you, clean as you go. Train those involved in housekeeping, step by step. Okay? Select green products or low toxic emitting materials. And then written operation, maintenance schedule as checklist, and a sign-off checklist. Okay, anong gagawin mo bago ka umuwi? Okay, next is when there is remodeling activities, which can also contribute to IAQ problems. So, this is repainting and there is off-gassing of new materials. We are familiar with this because we do have renovation activities ongoing. And then for the solution for that is you have to isolate the area. And then you can do work off hours, yung mga konti na lang yung tao, like weekends, ganun, para konti ang exposure. Exhaust area directly to the outside. And then increase fresh air to building. And then select lower emitting materials, yung hindi maamoy. Select green materials. Okay. For example, you can use water-based instead of the OS-based na organic solvent-based na pintura. You can use a water-based para hindi siya maamoy. But there is also, you have to check also the safety data sheets of the water-based kasi there are also chemicals that should be taken care of. Okay. Next is occupant activities. Occupant activities can also affect indoor air quality and can contribute to poor indoor air. For example, sa air conditioner, katulad nito. Sobrang lamig, nilagyan ng folder. Kasi directly sa ulo or nalalamigan siya sobra, directly sa kanya yung hangin, nilagyan niya ngayon ng folder. Tapos yung isang occupant naman, siguro there is a moldy odor, nilagyan niya ng air freshener. So this can affect indoor air quality. So you have to increase the IAQ awareness in your workplace. And then operation and maintenance problems. For example, this one. Napaka-alikabok na ng filter, ng free filter. And then, on the other picture, makikita nyo na yung bathroom exhaust, okay, hinihigop ng air intake kasi napakalapit nila. So, ano ang mangyayari ngayon? Yung bathroom exhaust ngayon pumupunta doon sa opisina. Okay? So, you have to check on that too. Next is, ito parking area. Ito yung air intake. So, once na nag-start ang sasakyan, hihigupin ngayon ni aircon. Papasok doon sa loob ng building. Another one, natakot mawala yung aircon, nilagyan ngayon ng bakal. And that can affect the air intake. Okay? As you can see, hinihigop siya. Next. So, for the air to get in this one, it has to pass through. Merong blockage. Paano yan merong blockage? So, you have to remove the block. Itong naka-obstruction dito. Kasi yan ang intake, ito yung papasok. Okay? Recirculating of air. So, you have to check yung mga obstruction. Next is, ito yung storage room. Kaso, ang problema sa storage room, may butas. So, yung butas na yon, pwedeng dumaan doon ang contaminated air going to the occupants. Okay, another one. Okay. Plant pollens and animal danders. Okay. And as you can see here, may mga plants. And plants can be a source of bugs, can be a source of organic dust, yung mga tuyong dahon. And then, ito sa vet shop. Okay, there are animal danders and there's poops of animals which can also cause indoor air problems. Okay, To improve our indoor air quality, what are the 3 things that we should do? Anong gagawin natin sa mga to? Okay, number 1. You should have source control. Kailangan kinokontrol mo yung source. Okay, eliminate individual sources of pollution or to reduce their emissions. Okay, pag nagpe-perfume, sabihin niya ng konti lang yung spray or can you spray outside para hindi masyadong kakalat sa loob. And then you can have improved ventilation. Increase the amount of outdoor air coming indoors para madalute. But make sure na merong lalabasan. Baka mamaya pumapasok, wala namang lalabasan. And bring fresh air into the building. And air cleaners. In case na talagang no choice ka na hindi mo mabuksan ang windows kasi merong construction outside. Kasi pag binuksan mo yung windows and there is construction outside, papasok naman yung alikabok. And what are you going to do? You can incorporate in your plan an air cleaner. Or you cannot open the window kasi yung outside mo is a hospital. Eh di lahat ng bacteria papasok sa'yo, na viruses papasok sa office. So, to remove those particles, you have to incorporate air cleaners. But air cleaners is not a silver bullet, or air purifiers are not a silver bullet. It is a part of the plan. Okay? Part of the plan for good IAQ. Hindi na, pwede na, may air cleaners, pwede na ako magtanggal ng mask. O may air cleaner, pwede na akong hindi mag-social distancing. It's not a silver bullet. Okay? It is just a part of the plan. Okay? So these are the IAQ strategies. To sum it up, you have to reduce at the source, you have to ventilate, you have to inactivate a filter, you have to clean and educate individuals. And then you can layer the risk of having IAQ problems. Okay, this is the layered risk reduction strategy. Always at the source, reduce from the source. You have to ventilate. You have to filter, use filters. I told you it's not a silver bullet. It's just part of the plan. And you have to clean and then finally educate the occupants. Now, who will do this? Okay. We do have a managing a building for a good IAQ. Okay, how to manage that? So operate and maintain HVAC equipment. Keep all controls in proper working conditions. I told you it's not just a job of the safety officer. It is the responsibility of everyone occupying the building. Oversee activities of staff, tenants, and contractors and other building occupants. Okay, oversee. Next is maintain communications with occupants for IAQ issues and solutions. Okay. Next is you have to coordinate in that one. Maintain communication with occupants. You have to coordinate with occupants, with the staffs, with the people concerned, with the MagOSH committee. Okay. Educate staff, occupants, and contractors about IAQ responsibilities. The lease agreements, they should have agreement that they should maintain the IAQ, to maintain good IAQ in your building. What are the things to do? Then we should have a checklist for that. Next is identify aspect of plan projects. Plan ahead of time. If you foresee that you will have a renovation, then make a plan. Okay? Any activity that could affect IAQ, future activity that could affect IAQ of the building or the indoor air, you should have a plan how to maintain and manage the project. Okay? So for the management plan, how to manage that? Who will be responsible? Who will be responsible for all of this? Is it only the safety officer? No, it should be the responsibility of everyone. Okay, first is you have to select an IAQ manager. IAQ manager will select and oversee niya lahat. Okay? As IAQ manager, you have to review. You have a baseline. Okay? Review IAQ profile and existing records. Etong mga contractors, anong ginagawa nila, that could affect the IAQ system here in my office. You have to review IAQ profile. They will bring 50 sacks of cement. Where should I put this one? You should look also the direction of the air kasi baka maya pag hangin, pumasok lahat sa building. Okay? Next is, as an IAQ manager, you have to communicate with the tenants, facility personnel, and building owners. Okay. IAQ managers should develop IAQ profile, should establish IAQ issues. Okay. And you have a proper communication system with the IAQ issues. I told you, IAQ is not just the sole responsibility of the safety officers, sole responsibility of everyone. Then review all projects in the buildings that may affect IAQ issues. And then periodically inspect the buildings for indicators of IAQ problems. Inspect, go around. Conduct initial walkthrough and other things that might be an future IAQ issues. That is the responsibility of IAQ manager. And then after that is, you have to prioritize. You have to list down all the problems. Ano bang uunahin ko sa lahat ng problema na to? Okay, lahat ng IAQ issues, you have to prioritize which one should go first. Okay, and then you have to assign staff. Okay? You have to assign a staff. Hindi ka lang ikaw, hindi kasi Superman. No one is a Superman for IAQ problems, okay? So you might need the help or the assistance of your coworkers. Like, for example, you have to assign a staff for facilities operation and maintenance. Kasi malaki ang responsibility ang IAQ manager. You have to assign a staff for housekeeping, pest control, tenant relation, renovation and future projects, and smoking. So all of these personnel na naka-assign dito will report to you as an IAQ manager. So, kasi kung ikaw yan, baka nasakit na ulo mo. Okay? So, you have to assign a staff or train a staff for each part of this one. Okay. So, maintaining a good indoor air quality, we have to increase the quality of life. Okay. For that matter, we will say that indoor air quality matters. And for that, let me show you for this one. Okay. Wait lang. It's not playing. Wait for a while. Okay, we have a video for that, but okay. Okay, so that one. So for that matter, You can go to World Health Organization for air pollution and COVID-19. And at the same time, you can go to World Health Organization website for ventilation and COVID-19. Okay. So any questions? And that ends my presentation. And maraming salamat po. And these are my references.